Hello, thank you for joining us. This is Quays News with Sani Rudravajula.
And me, Lucy Baxter. Coming up on today's show, a lip filler ban for under 18s.
It's a really difficult time for young women with all the standards that are around them. You know, they're told they have to look a certain way, but also if you're not that certain way naturally, then you're judged for getting to look that certain way.
It's National Candy Month. We'll be chatting about our favourites and what yours are too.
And finally, we're at the Manchester Flower Show to see what's blossoming. A dangerous procedure that can ruin children's lives. That's how one MP described lip fillers, the treatment to plump up your puckers.
Up until now, it's been possible to get it even if you're under 18, but a new law has come into place to ban the treatment, as Georgia Scott reports.
Until now, there has been no legal age limit for getting lip fillers in the UK, but the Botulinum Toxin and Cosmetic Fillers Children Act has now banned under 18s from having them.
I first got filler when I was 17, so I just was always a bit insecure about my smile. I definitely wanted it. I was mature enough to know what I was doing and I could handle it. You know, it's a really difficult time for young women with all the standards that are around them. You know, they're told they have to look a certain way, but also if you're not that certain way naturally, then you're judged for getting to look that certain way.
Almost 2/3 of people under 18 feel negative about their body image, according to the Centre for Appearance Research. The Department for Health estimates more than 29,000 filler procedures were performed on them during the last 4 years. All you have to do is type in lip filler deals on Instagram to find hundreds of offers, sales and discounts for the procedure. And you don't have to look far on other social media apps too to find people advertising their version of the perfect lips. This is just one new lip plumping product that's gone viral on the internet.
It's all about what is the appearance ideal is at that point in time. So if you think about the appearance ideal now, it's like the Kardashians, big boobs, big eyebrows, big lips. Whereas when I was growing up, it was Kate Moss. The alterations they're making to their natural bodies relate to this trend that they are seeing on social media, media generally. And actually that trend may change.
The lip filler procedure involves an injection of collagen or hyaluronic acid, and you don't have to be medically qualified to do it.
Dermal fillers is by far the most popular treatment of younger girls, can cause catastrophic complications, blindness in some cases, permanent tissue death. The severity of the risks is why it's crucial that you have to be an adult legally to make these decisions.
While this new law will serve as protection, many believe the wider issue remains. Who is addressing the epidemic of low body confidence and self-esteem among the country's teenagers?
That was Georgia Scott there with that report of lip fillers. I don't think I'd get it myself. I don't know about you.
No, I don't think I would. Now, Sani, what's your favourite filter to use if you take a photograph?
Probably the one that I can get a full head of hair, maybe. Does that exist? Can I have that?
I don't think that's around. I don't think that you can have that.
No.
But more and more apps have the facility of using filters to enhance your face. But you may want to think twice, as Jolie Macareth reports.
Whether you want to see what you look like without hair or turn your granddad into Shrek, there's a filter for you. But is it just a bit of fun or a toxic trend?
Videos like this have been taking off on TikTok, showing just how much you can change your face while still appearing realistic. These so-called beauty filters can smoothen your skin, plump your lips, and even change your face shape.
But is this setting an unrealistic beauty standard, especially for young women?
Professor Rosalind Gill from City University London has been researching the pressures felt by young women and non-binary people from social media. Around 90% of the interviewees admitted to sometimes using filters when posting a selfie.
We're in a moment where it's sort of unprecedented number of visual images that they're surrounded by. There's obviously influencers, there's celebrities, but there's also their peers, you know, there's all their friends who are also looking fabulous, and they just don't want to be left behind. They don't want to feel as if, you know, they're not looking good enough.
So does this pressure to post the perfect picture affect young women's mental health?
A huge amount of anxiety, quite a lot of people feeling quite depressed, a lot of sense of kind of feeling really ambivalent about social media. There are loads of parts of it that they really loved, but they also felt it just got too much.
But is change on the horizon? Some influencers, like model and makeup artist Sasha Polari, have been calling for more realistic posting on social media.
We can't even recognise what is a filter and what isn't a filter. We've become dependent on our nose looking smaller and our lips looking bigger, and then we can't look at ourselves and we can't bear the sight of ourselves without them on. If we all try to use them less, we're just going to be more accepting of who we are without them.
So the next time you go to post on social media, will you reach for the filter or go au naturel? Jolie Mackworth, Quays News.
It's just amazing how many filters there are and how people sort of post pictures with the filters on. Which filters have you been looking at?
Yeah, well, I've ended up looking at ones that can turn me into a cat, so I'm not sure that's going to help at all. Now, here's a story that's close to my heart because after all this afternoon, I did cycle here.
And the outfit you came in was just the worst, the bright orange. It was the worst outfit I've ever seen.
I mean, how can you say I look ridiculous? It was aerodynamic and it kept me cool. Well, actually, not only can they be quick and cheap for commuting, but e-cargo bikes could be the new way to get deliveries around busy cities choked up by traffic, as Jack McKinnell reports.
In the transport community, the last mile is a problem that has been discussed for a while. How can goods be transported across highly populated areas efficiently? Well, researchers from the University of Salford believe e-cargo bikes are the answer.
So the biggest advantage of e-cargo bikes is that they can circumvent congestion by the fact that they are not cars or vans or lorries or sort of those conventional vehicles. So they can navigate these spaces more effectively by using the off-road cycling infrastructure, the cycle lanes on the road, which enable them to move around these spaces more efficiently.
E-cargo bikes don't only provide a more efficient mode of transport, but a greener one. In 2019, a butcher who began using one of these bikes for deliveries instead of a van reduced his CO2 emissions by 75%. Chorlton bike delivery started up during the pandemic as a way to get shopping to people who were stuck inside, but now they do anything from Christmas trees to specimen samples for the NHS.
So any opportunity to do something which is currently done by a vehicle, we'll say we can do it by a bike. A run from Manchester city centre to Chorlton, for instance, you can do it as quick on a bike as you can in a car most times of the day. So in those settings, there's an economic case as well as an environmental case for using cargo bikes.
In 2018, the government gave a £2 million grant towards e-cargo bikes where local authorities could bid for part of this money to purchase some of these bikes. Although the bikes themselves are expensive, Luke believes a big company has to be brave enough to set up a fleet of e-cargo bikes before they become the norm.
When we start to see the big businesses adopt them and implement them effectively, that will also trickle down in terms of people's awareness and taking notice of these bikes being used in an effective way.
These bikes are rarely seen on UK streets today, but people are working towards a future where your parcels are delivered by bike.
Wow, do you think you're going to be purchasing an e-cargo bike to transport all your bike outfits?
Well, yeah, maybe. It's pretty useful, actually. Now, anyway, we've got another story to talk about, haven't we?
Every year, billions of pounds worth of food is thrown away unnecessarily.
But Anna Cooper's been finding out how apps might be the answer to combat food wastage.
1/3 of all food produced for humans is wasted across the globe each year. This is responsible for up to 8% of greenhouse gas emissions and is more than the aviation industry that produces 6% of greenhouse gas emissions. In the UK, we waste up to £10.2 billion worth of food each year. We're not just wasting our food, we're also wasting our savings, as for the average household, this is a cost of up to £400. I've been taking a look at a few apps that are helping combat food wastage to help the environment.
Too Good To Go is the largest business-to-consumer app for surplus food. And what we do is, via the app, we create businesses' profiles on there. They advertise what we call a magic bag, which is simply a portion of food that would otherwise be going to waste that day.
So I'm just on my way to go to one of Too Good To Go's many retailers to pick up a magic bag for myself. And this is what I got. Now, if I'd have gone in and bought this directly from the retailer, this would have cost me £11.15. But by ordering from Too Good To Go, this magic bag was only £3. It's helping prevent food wastage and it's helping your bank account. Gorillas is an international app where you can order fresh groceries at retail prices. These are then delivered to your door within 10 minutes by a rider. Their new Manchester base has signed up to be a part of Too Good To Go.
We work with so much fresh produce, and that's within my role, that if it's not up to our standard, but it's still a very high standard of quality, we like to put that towards Too Good To Go as sort of waste management. We don't like to throw anything out, or as little as possible.
With Too Good To Go, there's literally no losers here. Everybody wins. It's going to somebody that wants it, and it's freeing up a lot of space for us as well. With the manufacturing and how much food is being manufactured, it's just giving back to the environment as well, so we're not wasting so much.
Olio is another app that is combating food waste. This is where your neighbours can advertise food that they have going spare, all for free.
We also encourage, local businesses to be able to save any surplus food that they have at the end of their days and share it across their communities as well. So we want our food waste heroes, who are Olio volunteers, to be able to go to these local businesses, collect the surplus food and share it with their neighbours as well. Too Good To Go say that they have saved over 110,000 magic bags from going to waste, and this is the equivalent of over 300 return flights from London to New York. Their food is collected when a business has perishable or short-dated food, food that cannot be collected, or food that is not suitable for charitable redistribution. And Olio say that they have saved over 44,000 portions of food and over 6 million litres of water across Manchester. These apps want to educate people on food waste, and as 3.6 million tonnes of food is wasted by the food industry, they aim to help businesses tackle their food waste as well.
That was Anna Cooper reporting there. Now, in other news today, a 56-year-old man has died after a collision between a car and a bike in the early hours of this morning. Jolie Makarov is live at the scene and joins us now.
Hello, yes. So earlier this morning here in Gorton, it was around 1:45 a.m. A car and a cyclist collided. Now, as you mentioned, a man who was 66 years old, he was arrested on the scene for suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. Now, the man who was riding the bicycle, he was 56 years old, and he was taken to hospital in critical condition this morning, but sadly he died in the early hours of this morning. So the roads around Gorton this morning were really cordoned off this morning for about 7 hours, and there was a lot of diversions with the traffic, and police have said that this serious collision is a tragic incident in which a man has sadly lost his life, and they're going to be working now to work out how this collision happened, and are asking for anybody who saw anything to get back in touch with them and let them know any information.
Thanks for the update, Jolie. Now, as art galleries are open again, you might find yourself staring at a masterpiece, but the chances are the artist will be a man. Our reporter, Zoe Toes, has been finding out about the female artists striving to change that, including at a new exhibition in Levenshulme.
518365.
Despite women being the subject matter for around half of the top 25 auction sales for paintings, only 2 works by women have ever broken into the top 100.
I can't tell you the amount of times where it's like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to climb that high? Do you really want to be up there? So, it's very male dominated. So I think when women see other women in those positions that are mainly guys, it's empowering. It's empowering to be there, and it's empowering to see.
Crafting contributes £3.4 billion to the UK economy, but the creative industry reported that women only make up 1/5 of craft makers.
It's very simple. If you have the opportunity to practice, to challenge yourself, to, in my case, take on bigger walls, bigger projects, have these things, then you can get better. More opportunities need to be open. or available to women for that.
She Made That is a pop-up art exhibition showcasing the talent of female local artists. These women have been on a 6-month journey to learn new skills and make a range of handmade gifts.
This project has been all about working with women to boost confidence, boost well-being and to boost people's ability to achieve their own goals. It's really nice to be able to see women makers who represent different parts of the community that aren't always represented in makers fairs as well, and that's I think inspired people. Definitely a few of the visitors that have come through have been inspired to take part in future projects and to start making and selling themselves, which has been wonderful.
We've done screen printing, we've done raffia work, we've made African dolls, we've made jewellery. It's been really, really great, really varied, something different every week. It's also given me a lot more confidence about, you know, sort of routes to market and pricing things that I've made, and, you know, it's stuff that I wouldn't have known where to start.
It's one thing, you know, trying to sell stuff online, but when you talk face to face, you're a person, your stuff becomes alive, you know, when you talk about it, really. And you tell your story about it, you know, how you got to where you are and why.
Thanks, Zoe.
Now, the sun is shining and you might be planning on going out for a drink this afternoon after the show, of course. But are restaurants bouncing back as much as they thought? Well, our reporter Kelsey Haslam has been finding out more and is here with us now. What's it been like now indoor dining is open back up again? Has it been busy? Are people hoping to eat out or being stuck inside after so long?
So there is a lot of talk about people being unable to book a table because hospitality venues are so busy, and there's been some reports too to say that it's busier now than it was before COVID. However, after speaking to some people that work in the industry, they've noticed that it's mainly the regulars that have been coming in and it's not been as busy as they would have expected.
Before the pandemic, this time of year, we'd usually have really good weather as well. So we'd be busier throughout the day and night. Whereas now the evenings are much more busier than they used to be. Since we've reopened, I've noticed that it's all the regulars and all the locals that seem to be coming in. There is a few new customers as well here and there, but I've noticed it's all the regulars.
So how do members of the public feel about indoor dining now being open?
Well, it's quite interesting actually. As many people of all ages have said that they feel a bit anxious to be visiting public places again. I spoke to a lady who's retired and a student who both said that they're not too comfortable sitting indoors just yet.
The restrictions have eased. Have you been going out to bars and pubs more often?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Quite often.
But we like to sit outside still.
Oh.
We have sat inside and I felt anxious when I've come out.
I'm personally still feeling quite anxious about going out to eat and booking in places again, even with the requirements, the measurements that have been put in place.
So Kelsey, what do you think we can expect in the future?
Well, it's a tough one to guess. I do think that we're going to see a lot of places being busier if the restrictions do ease completely on June the 21st. However, I think people are still going to feel anxious, not just for their health, but with being around so many crowds after spending so long in isolation.
Thanks, Kelsey, for that.
Now restrictions are easing, dancers can meet up in person again to get their groove on. I went along to the first session back for one charity in Preston, which focuses on making dancing accessible for all. You might not usually see a group of dancers busting their moves in the park, but for members of Down syndrome, it is their first time dancing in person for over half a year. The Lancashire charity helps people living with disabilities have an equal opportunity to access high-quality dance sessions.
I like to dance because it gives me freedom to express myself. It is my dance family. What I have really missed is seeing my dance friends in person. It is so much more fun being able to dance together as a group.
It's completely a dance family. So for me, to have everyone back together is just phenomenal. I was like on my way here like, keep it together, because I just knew I was going to be emotional. I didn't know how it was going to be, but overall it's just amazing to have everyone back together and have that connection that we've all got together. And you just see one person look at another and their face just lights up from side to side. It's apparently clear how people need that connection. Even if we're not physically touching, to be in the same space with another person, it just makes it more complete.
The recent lockdowns have meant that Dance Syndrome has had to adapt its way of delivering sessions to the dancers.
We could still run the sessions like we have done in the physical space, but just online, which has allowed us to meet so many more people, which has been wonderful.
It has kept us in touch with each other.
So for these people, they're back dancing with their family once again. Lucy Baxter, Quays News, Preston.
That was great. I really loved that. I need to get out there and join him, I think.
Definitely. Now, we're having a roundup of things that have happened over the past week. Joining us in the studio is Lizzie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Are you ready?
Well, I don't know.
I hope you've been keeping up with the news this week.
Oh.
Okay, so we'll start with question 1. In connection to what did the official Black Lives Matter UK Twitter account post this message?
Ooh. I don't know. Not sure.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Okay. Prominent Black Lives Matter activist Sasha Johnson was left in critical condition after getting shot in the head during a rally last week. So, next question. Which football match from last week is this footage from?
This is one for
I think
you.
I might know this one. Is this Chelsea against Man City in the Champions League final?
It is indeed 1 point to Sani.
Oh no.
Sorry to the City fans in advance. So London had a field day last Saturday when Chelsea came on top of Manchester City in a fierce fight for the Champions League trophy. Thomas Tuchel outplayed Pep Guardiola in a night of exciting football in Porto. And finally, why are police and paramedics getting their groove on in this clip?
They joined your dance group again.
Oh, they could have done. Is it something to do with Pride Month?
It is indeed. It is indeed. It's Pride Month, of course, so people are celebrating across the whole country, including Bristol, where the footage came from.
Oh.
So you drew. Well done.
Well done, Sammy. Did you know it's National Candy Month? Sani, what's your favourite type of sweet?
That Peppa Pig one, Percy Pig, is that the one? Maybe a cola bottle?
Yeah, I've got to admit, I love a Haribo. They're very tang-fastic.
Yeah, other sweets, of course, other brands are available.
Our reporter, Izzy Bushell, has this.
Whether we're going to the cinema or just sat at home, we all love snacking on our favourite sugary sweets.
But this month is National Candy Month, and I wanted to find out how the businesses have been affected over the past year in the pandemic, but how social media has managed to skyrocket online sales.
Due to so many stores having to close down in the pandemic, sweet shop sales were down 15% for the year in takings. But how has this affected the workers involved in the stores that had to close?
Being closed during COVID had a major impact, obviously, because we cater a lot for children, we cater a lot for families, and with it being closed and them not being able to come in, obviously that's been an issue, especially with the amount of school holidays we've missed as well.
Despite the impact that the pandemic has had on sweet stores across the UK, a lot of businesses have managed to stay alive through lockdown thanks to TikTok. Building a large online following has meant some businesses are earning up to £5,000 a month through online sales.
Sweet of the day, and today it's the Lucky Charms marshmallows. Let's try a little love heart one.
Such as Sophie Taylor, who gained over 500,000 followers, posting behind the scenes content of her business, The Candy Works.
We have TikTok, you know, to thank for everything really. We would not be where we are if it wasn't for TikTok. And I'll hold my hands up and say that if it wasn't for TikTok, I don't think that our business would be where it is now. And it just blew up, and overnight it literally went mental. So we went from like literally 1 to 2 orders a day to like hundreds overnight. It just went crazy.
Let's hope that the power of social media can continue to grow the businesses so we can continue to snack on our favourite treats.
Thanks for that, Izzy. Now, I was on Oxford Road on Saturday, actually, and I came across this beautiful tree display, this purple tree. It's called a whispering wisteria.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think you'd be interested in that kind of thing.
I like all sorts of things. I'm a bit of a Renaissance man, you know. Well, actually, it was part of the Manchester Flower Show, which sees a Technicolor of flora take over the streets until Sunday.
I must get down there this weekend. I love how much stuff is always happening in Manchester. It's such a buzzing city.
Yeah, well, actually, we've got someone joining us, haven't we, Lucy?
Anne-Marie is in St Anne's Square now. So, Anne-Marie, what's the atmosphere like down there?
It's great to be out in the sunshine, especially amid these beautiful displays. Behind me is the one created by Giraffe Plus. Okay, Paris is the owner. Hello. Hello. Could you tell us a little bit about what's behind this display?
Yeah, no problem. So the display was done in association with the Kimpton Clock Tower Hotel. Their main slogan is "Stay Human." So we were looking for organic, nice, human things that are obviously around the flowers. So we've decided to go with the garden. And then we found this electrical station. That's basically an old electrical station. So we turned it into an entrance to the secret garden. So we made our display a two-part display. This one is the entrance to the garden. That then leads into the actual garden, which is a really lovely outside space at the Kimpton Clock Tower. We've got a second part of our display there, so there's a nice archway, and that's where it sort of leads all the guests. It's got lots of nice fresh flowers and plants inside. It's got food vendors have just started doing this really cool thing where they've got every week different food vendor. You can have a special cocktail, you can have a drink in the secret garden.
Could you tell me a little about the tree? There's something very interesting about that.
The tree has been completely handmade. I know it doesn't look it, which is great. It's made completely out of plywood by hand. The trunk is made of plywood. We then have a cork bark that we stuck onto it, obviously making it look completely real with the artificial branches and blossoms. But yeah, completely handmade from scratch.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Anne-Marie, for that. Now, it's been the same for centuries, generation after generation, steadfast in their desire to follow the footsteps of their ancestors. I'm talking, of course, about toad migration. Don't you laugh, Lucy. Now, as our towns and cities develop, the new roads that cut through the paths for toads have led to thousands being killed every year in hit-and-run accidents. But a group of conservation superheroes, the Toad Patrollers, are here to save the day. Megan Matthews reports.
Come along, Mr. Toad. Don't get on the road. Come into my buckets. We don't want you to effort.
That is the song of the Toad Patrollers. Every spring, volunteers go toading to stop migrating toads from being hit by cars.
There were upwards of maybe 1,000 toads being squashed on the road. It was a pretty appalling sight. I mean, because a lot of them are squashed, but a lot of them are not squashed. They're sort of dismembered and left dying on the road, which isn't a pretty sight. But we're pretty good at saving them.
Volunteers ferry the toads across the road.
You have to wear a high-vis jacket, obviously. I've got a bucket, I've got a torch, and that's it. And you just get on with it. And as light falls, you're just walking along the edge of the road, being careful of the cars because they do fly by. It's a sort of the hour and a half just after dusk is the most dangerous time for the toads. So you look on the grass. The easiest place to see them is just coming out of the grass onto the road. Suddenly there you see them. And if you find toads, you put them in your bucket. You get them safely across the road, and then we make sure they get to the other side of the road, over a fence. And their instincts are taken into the water. Well done, they're not going to come back.
In 2020, volunteers saved around 71,834 toads, and toading has become as much about the volunteers as it is about the amphibians.
So we initially went out and we thought we were going to film a 5-minute mini documentary and find out how the whole process works. We started meeting people. There's like models, lawyers, retired people, students. It's just like this amazing community of people, and we all there, for amphibians. So it turns out that our film was about toads and frogs and newts, but eventually it turned out that it's actually about people.
Well, that was a fantastic report there from Megan Matthews. Now, earlier we asked you to tell us about your favourite sweet treats, and you haven't let us down.
So Cora McGill says, candy fish yummy and Starburst jelly beans are her favourite.
Okay, I like those. Jelly beans, yeah, okay.
Jelly beans again. Licorice.
Licorice,
no, I don't like licorice.
No, not for me.
Michael says all of them.
Yeah, that's why I'm barely fitting into this suit as it is, you know.
And anything with chocolate, I think most of us can agree with anything with chocolate.
Absolutely.
And that's all we have time for today. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Yeah, the sun is shining, so get out there, enjoy it. We've had a great time here.
Bye-bye.
See ya.